What do you want out of life? And how are you going to get there? When we were little, the question is, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was easy to say ballerina or maybe astronaut. But what do you want out of life? Sometimes answered with happiness, right? But what is happiness? And how do we get there? Today, I want to introduce you to the idea of living your life by design and creating the roadmap for life, a tool to defining that happiness and breaking down the action steps to pursue it. Hi everyone, I'm Jen. I'm the founder of Life After Busy. I'm a productivity coach. I help female creatives and entrepreneurs achieve more by doing less through personalized productivity. A life plan or roadmap for life is putting in the big rocks first and figuring out a path to reach those milestones. And I'm gonna let you know, creating this roadmap is hard, but it's worth it. The first time I went through this exercise, it took me like a day and a half, but don't worry, I've got you. I've done this before, so I'm trying to streamline this process for you. And actually, I walk you through the steps and give you all the templates in the Life After Busy Bootcamp. I'll link down below. But let's get into why you should do this. And the first reason is you have a plan for changes or bumps in the road. Life always throws us curveballs. I've shared in this channel before, my mom passed away 3 years ago. It shook my world up. And by reconnecting with your life plan in those moments of uncertainty and transition, it will help you when you've kind of taken a detour, how to go back into the path or maybe trail a new path because you know what's important to you and you can scale those obstacles or those falls and keep moving forward. Secondly, you have a reason behind what you want to achieve. And this is motivation. A lot of times we give up on things because we're not clear on our why. Everything worth doing takes some hard work. So if you're not clear on your why, you're not clear on your motivation, it's easy to give up on those tough days. So the life plan or the roadmap for life will help you dial in that motivation. Number 3, it gives you focus on your bigger goals when the busyness of life tends to get in the way. Now, I know what you're thinking, Jen. You always say busy is a 4-letter word, and yes, it is. But this actually helps you live the life after busy because it makes you put in those big rocks first. And everything, all the busyness, all that extra stuff that we get caught up in day after day after day will fall by the wayside because you're spending your time on those important things that you've identified in your life plan. Number 4 is if you don't have a plan, you become a part of someone else's. I know you've heard this, it's a famous quote, I'm sure you've heard it before. So if you haven't identified how you want to be spending your days, you're likely to get looped into somebody else's agenda. So why not take the time and go through this exercise to identify what you want? So when opportunities present themselves, you have the clarity to say yes or no. And number 5 is tomorrow is determined by what we do today. So this goes to the idea of, you have the goal of being an amazing parent, let's say for an example, but you just keep showing up and just doing your best and maybe yelling at the kids more often than you like, and you don't really have the relationship with your teenager you'd hope you'd have. Well, what you do right now is going to determine your relationship 5 years from now. So why not work on it today rather than put that off and just hope things will take care of themselves? Okay, so step 1 is to identify the roles that you play or the roles you want to play. So let me give you some examples. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a friend. I'm a business owner. I would like to be a mentor. I'm a daughter. I'm an auntie. You see the list can go on and on and on. You're a member of your community. You're a volunteer. Just jot down all of those roles that you play. And then stop and consider how you would like each one to remember you. So I'll give you an example from my roadmap for life. And this is in my role of being a friend. I'm going to read to you. Jen was a true and loyal friend. She took the time to stay connected. We had the best time chatting on the phone or traveling the world. She was always the first person I would want to talk to when life took an unexpected turn. Like that time I had to walk away from my relationship with my dad. She never let her own stuff get in the way of our friendship. So identify those roles and then consider how each one would remember you at the end of your life. I know it's morbid, but it's important. So play with me for a minute. Okay, the next step is to get clear on your priorities. There's an image I'm going to share with you by Michael Hyatt and Daniel Harkavy. I hope I'm saying his name right, from the book Living Forward. And basically it is a circle. And in the very core of the circle is you. So what that means is your mental health, your physical health. You have to take care of yourself. You are a non-negotiable priority in order to keep this circle all together. So the center is yourself. You have to put yourself on your priority list. Outside of you is the circle of being. So that's your physical, spiritual, and intellectual health. And then outside of that is the circle of relating, marital, social, and parental priorities. And then outside of that is your circle of doing. And that is your vocational, financial, and avocational, so like hobbies. Those are different, the 9 different life accounts he identifies. So that might help you and give you some guidance on what your priorities are. So in this life plan, I want you to get real on where you're at with these different priorities right now, today. Are you making this a priority in your life? And do you have a clear understanding of why this area is important and how it can have an impact on other areas? So say, for example, your business, so your vocational, that can have a huge influence on your finances, right? But so can your role as a parent. That could also have a big influence on your business. So think about the relationship between all of them. And then the next step in all of this is to spend some time thinking about managing the priorities and the roles. I like to share this story. My husband is in sales. He's been in medical sales since I met him 20 years ago. And he often was given the opportunity to climb up the ladder within his business. He recently made a job change, but prior to that, he was with the same company forever. And their corporate headquarters was in Chicago. We live in Northern California, and he would always turn it down. And time again, I kind of get frustrated that he was turning down this opportunity for more income for our family and a step up in his career. But his reasoning, now that I understand the roadmap for life, really makes sense, because it for him would mean a lot more time on the road, a lot more time visiting the corporate office in Chicago. And he was taking into account, even if he wasn't doing it unconsciously, that a move up in his work was going to take sacrifice with his family and his, his personal time, maybe even his health. So the one analogy I want to give you, and hopefully this gives you a little bit of perspective, I'd like you to focus on no more than 6 roles at any one point in time, or identify 6 roles that are important to you. And a sport that does this is volleyball. Volleyball has 6 players on the court. at any one given time. There might be other players on the bench, but those 6 roles are what you're going to be pouring into. So those are the 6 players on the volleyball team that are currently in play. It doesn't mean that you don't have any other roles that are important to you in your life, but those are the ones that are getting your focus at the moment. So if you're struggling to, like, Jen, you're asking me to cut it down to 6, how can I do that? Think of the analogy of a volleyball team. Pick your starters. Pick the ones that you want to pour into today, because our lives are journeys, right? They kind of ebb and flow. Maybe at this moment, being an aunt is a super important role to you. You love spending time with your niece and nephew. But 5 years from now, you have your own child. So your role as an aunt maybe takes a back seat. And now your role as mother is more of a priority. So that mom role takes the court, and the auntie role is going to go sit on the bench. So hopefully that analogy will help you kind of sort through and think of the 6 priorities, the 6 players you want to put into your field on your roadmap for life right now. And like I said, I have a template that works you through this in the Life After Busy Bootcamp. I'm going to put a link down below. So if you're interested in going further on this with my help guiding you through on creating this document, please feel free to click it. And bye for now. I'll see you guys next week.